What's going on, champs and champettes? It's FireMonkey here, and in today's YouTube video we have to talk about the exact V-Bucks feature that is now enabled in Fortnite and the two different ways that it's actually being enabled. So firstly, now you can go ahead and purchase the exact amount of V-Bucks you need in order to complete certain purchases here and there. This will only show up if you're someone who needs a little bit more to buy a bundle. So if you're over like 5,000 V-Bucks, you're never going to see that exact V-Buck purchase option over on the left side of the screen, but it is something that now does exist and is now available for people to purchase. However, Epic Games is doing something a little bit more interesting that I didn't think they were going to do. So a little bit of a metaphor before I show this. Something I had mentioned to a friend here is whenever you go and like you travel somewhere and you look at the currency, you're not too familiar with it, right? You know, in a lot of places it can be a lot more or a lot less depending where you're at. In places like Japan, you know, the yen, it gets very confusing because you'll have like a dollar and then in yen it's like 500, 600 yen, like 580 yen or something like that for a dollar. And then you have stuff like Fortnite V-Bucks. Now you might be like, what? Why are we talking about yen and then Fortnite V-Bucks? Well, one thing I've always thought about is it's like this. Whenever you're going around and you're working on, you know, purchasing things in the item shop, having $20 you have to spend on something feels like a lot of money. But spending 2,000 V-Bucks, or for example, spending 10,000 yen, doesn't always feel as much as it actually is. Yeah, now I think like 10,000 yen's like $68 or something like that, but it is in that weird way where it's like, oh, you know, it's not $60, it's 10,000 of this unknown currency, or 2,000 V-Bucks or whatever else in the item shop. And it seems like Epic Games is actually going to make people's impulsive buying a little bit less here, because now enabled in the game for some people is what you can see on the right side of the screen, an equivalent exchange value for all of the cosmetics that release in Fortnite. So from now on, whenever you're actually playing Fortnite, and this isn't enabled for everyone, for some people such as myself, I don't have it yet, but for a lot of people, you'll now be able to see what the real money equivalent around, you know, an estimation is for all of the cosmetics you can actually purchase in the item shop. Now, for example, you can see right there, 500 V-Bucks is equivalent to 499 pounds. But if we go over here to this image, for example, we have 1,500 V-Bucks for an actual item shop cosmetic. I think it's the Ghostface skin that is equivalent to around 13.49 pounds. So it's interesting to see how they're starting to do this, and they're starting to release this new feature where it's not in that real vague territory where it's like, oh, you know, 1,500 V-Bucks doesn't sound like that much. However, you know, like $14 would sound like a lot. And they're starting to make it something where you do know exactly how much money you're technically spending on these things in the Fortnite item shop. Whether that stops people from actually purchasing stuff in the Fortnite item shop or it actually makes them, you know, still purchase things is unknown. But it's an interesting change to see them kind of put live with the refund, or I guess, you know, like recharge V-Bucks feature where you can buy the exact amount of V-Bucks you want. And it makes me just kind of wonder why Epic Games decided to put this out now. Now, the reason I say it's not out for everyone is because originally I thought it was supposed to be available for everyone. I mean, with the hotfix, I can even double check this right now. The only thing they changed was the option to can show offer real price. They set that to true instead of false. Okay, you know, they just kind of like disabled that from being disabled, or whatever you would say, I guess, in a weird way. And despite that being disabled, you would think it would work for everyone, but it appears that at least right now, it's only for certain places, certain currencies. Now, I'm unfamiliar if that's going to be something related to actual legal laws in those places, and it will never come to something like the USD. But it is still interesting to see how this is a new feature enabled in the game, and I'd love to hear in the comments down below, what do you think about this being enabled in the game? What do you think about it having like a whole entire real estimation value based on what the real, you know, version of it would be if you were to spend actual money on it instead of actually buying V-Bucks? And do you think that maybe in the future we could have a system where it's going to allow us to basically purchase an item with real money instead of just purchasing an item using the things here and there, such as the whole entire, you know, V-Buck system, right? Will they ever drop the V-Buck system and it's just like, oh, if you want to purchase this item, throw us 12 bucks or something, right? Would you prefer to do that instead of spending 1,500 V-Bucks on something? I don't know. It's a weird situation, but it is a cool situation overall to see that they are working on these little things here and there and kind of improving the storefront over time to be more transparent in a way, which is something I feel like Epic Games kind of sucks at doing sometimes, is just transparency with the changes they're making in the game. So having a little bit more transparency is always a good thing in my opinion. But with that said, hope you champs and champions enjoyed today's YouTube video. Let me know in the comments comments down below what currency you currently have in your Fortnite account, whether it's, you know, pounds, euros, whether it's USD, whatever else, and let me know how that's actually affecting the storefront. Do these estimated prices show up for you, or is it like me right now with USD where I can't see the estimation at all, I just see the normal V-Buck pricing. Until next time, however, I'll catch you champs and champions a little bit later with another video. Like the video if you liked it, dislike if you didn't like it, and peace out.